guys, it's Jason from Denon DJ. I'm here today to give you a quick rundown and a feature overview of the SC5000 and Engine Prime Update 1.2. In 1.2 we made a number of significant improvements and added some really exciting features. So without further delay, let's take a look at those new features. The first thing you might notice is the newly added tractor icon in the collection panel. We work directly with Native Instruments to integrate support for tractor collections, including playlist, cues, and even your saved loops. As you can see, as I load my music here, I've got all of my hot cues and loop points directly from Tractor. The next improvement that we added was the ability to add playlist folders. As you can see here, we've got folders for my playlist, and I can create a new one by clicking the icon at the bottom, name it whatever you like, and then just drag and drop your playlist into those folders. Playlist folders are available for your iTunes, Serato, and also the Tractor integration as well. Let's take a look at my Serato collection so I can show you the next feature. In 1.2, we now have the ability to drag and drop a Serato crate directly into the internal collection. When you drag and drop it into your crates collection, it will create a crate with all of the corresponding tracks. You can also drag to the playlist area to create a playlist with all the corresponding tracks as well. So now we have a duplicate of the Serato Gold 1.0 crate, and you can also right-click on any of your crates and import them as playlists or crates as well. Another great feature for playlists and crates is the ability to export them as an M3U, CSV, or JSON file format. This will be super useful for exporting your playlist history as text when sharing your mixes online. To export, just right-click on the crate or playlist and choose the export option. You'll then be prompted with a box where you can name your file and choose the file type. Next up, we added the 98 to 195 BPM analysis range. This will be very useful when working with high-tempo music such as drum and bass. This option is also available on the SC5000 for onboard analysis. Another area of improvement is the Engine Prime's downbeat detection algorithm. You'll notice with this update that the downbeat of your music is now identified more accurately than ever before. We know this feature is very important to DJs, and we will continue to improve this algorithm over time. The last thing I want to show you are two new user preference options. These two options will allow you to choose the sync button action type, where you can choose as toggle or shift disable. I'll show these on the hardware in the next portion, but you can also set the on-air mode from on or off, and this will allow you to disable on-air mode. Aside from these highlighted features, we made a number of bug fixes and improvements under the hood. These changes are hard to showcase, but will be very clear to you once you start working with Engine Prime version 1.2. Now that we've covered all the Engine Prime updates, let's take a look at the SC5000 and see what 1.2 brings to the hardware. The first feature I want to talk about is our improvements to the network overall. We made a number of enhancements and optimized our network, and this allowed us to remove the 2.5 gigabyte database limitation. So now you can freely share all of your music across all of your players without any limitation of database size. The next thing we should talk about is our improved searching. Searching on the SC5000 has never been easier. Simply tap the magnifying glass, and now you can use partial words. So for example, I'll type in Ollie and then go, because I was looking for this Go With It song. And from here, I can simply load. The next new feature I want to talk about is the ability to instant double. With the SC5000, you can instant double to a layer or to another player across the network with up to 4 players. So instant doubles is pretty straightforward, but there are 2 methods to use it. So first, let's show you how to use it on a layer. So I'm playing my layer A, I'll go to layer B, and I'll just quickly double tap on the select encoder. And I can fade this one out, and bring in the sub layer at the same exact time. So there's also a secondary way that you can get into this. Instead of double tapping on the select encoder, you can press and hold the sync button for 2 seconds. So now we've transitioned to our layer B using the instant double feature, and we show you how to do it both ways with the select encoder and also with the sync button. Now I'm just going to quickly demonstrate how that's achievable over the network. Pretty much the same process. I'm going to stop my layer B, go to layer A, go to my deck that I want to instant double to, And I'll just quickly double tap on the select. So you can hear it phasing now. And if we wanted to, we could do a quick half beat juggle. So it's pretty cool. You'll be able to do some really cool tricks with the instant double feature. And again, that's available on a sublayer or across the network with up to 4 players. The next feature I want to talk about is our improvements to the playlist area on the SC5000. These improvements are also in Engine Prime, but let's take a look how they apply on the hardware. Okay, so to access your playlist, just touch the playlist icon. And from here you can see that I have my Techie, my Deep House, and my Groovy. Now these aren't actually playlists, these are playlist folders. So with 1.2 we added the ability to add folders to your playlist. And this will just allow you to further refine and organize your music collection. The next improvement to the playlist is the ability to now sort your playlist songs. So within a playlist you can now sort by the order in which it was added to the playlist, your album, artist, track title, key, and BPM. So now all of those are fully accessible, whereas before, in the previous update, they were only available for crates. But now we've carried that over to playlist as well. The next thing I want to talk about are the improvements to our cues and our looping on the SC5000. We added a number of new features to cues and looping, so let's take a look at the SC5000 and see how they're executed. The first improvement to our looping system is the ability to set the loop before a track has been analyzed. So I've got a folder here with some music that I just got. It hasn't gone into Engine yet. So I load it to the deck. I can now immediately cue. And I can also set a loop. The next improvement to the looping system is the ability to trigger loops on beat. So now I'll just enable quantize, go to my looping section, and let's create a loop. So now we've got a perfectly timed loop. I'm going to disable the loop, and now once I re-trigger it, it will always be on the beat since I've enabled quantize, and our quantize is set to 1 beat. So let's go and I triggered the loop, trigger it again. I'm going to try and trigger it off beat. And there it goes. It waited for that right beat, the right moment to come through, and everything was perfectly in time. The next change to our looping is the ability to actually set a loop from the initial cue point. This means that you don't have to set the in and out point every time. So I can play, and my initial cue point is right at the beginning of the track. So now all I have to do if I want to immediately start the loop is press loop out. And now we've automatically set a 16-beat loop directly on time and started right from that initial cue point. The last improvement to the loops and cues area is the ability to disable an active loop region when a hot cue is pressed. So I'm going to go ahead and play this track. We've got the loop region is currently active. Now when I trigger one of these hot cues, it's going to jump me outside of the active region, but also disable that loop. We want to disable that so we don't trigger a hot cue prior to the loop region and then unexpectedly jump into that region. So all I have to do is just press a hot cue. And now we've jumped out of the loop region, but you can also see that the loop encoder is no longer flashing, indicating that the loop has been deactivated. The next two features we're going to look at are user preferences. These preferences will allow you to customize the SC5000 and tailor it to your workflow as a DJ. The first user preference I want to show you is sync button action. Currently it's set to shift disable. That means that if you have sync engaged, you're going to have to hold shift and then press sync to disengage it. I prefer the toggle method. This method allows you to quickly engage sync and then disable it without having to hold the shift button. The next preference option I want to show you is the ability to disable the on-air mode. So on-air mode allows you to see the deck that is currently active, indicated by the platter LED ring when the channel fader is raised. So right now, when the deck is active, you see the color. If the deck is inactive or there's no audio passing through the mixer, the actual platter ring goes to white. So now if we disable that, the platter color is always the user selected color, regardless of the channel fader position. The last feature I want to show you is the improved eject. Now, instead of holding down for 2 seconds, you simply tap the icon there and your media is ejected. That concludes this video on Engine Prime and the SC5000 version 1.2. As you saw, we made a number of improvements and added some really exciting features. So be sure to check out denondj.com, where you can download for yourself and check out the full release notes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.